Hey guys, AntVenom here, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. Well, sort of. And today, I'm going to show you guys how to do things like this. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys how to create Minecraft animations using a program called Minimator. And if you guys want to download this for yourselves, then be sure to check out the link in the description below. But essentially what Minimator is it allows you to create Minecraft-based animations within its program. So it's not an advanced animation studio by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're looking to get your feet wet in the field of animation, or you just want to create simple Minecraft animations to make your vision come to life, then this program is definitely the program for you. If getting into things like Blender, Cinema 4D, Maya, if those things are just way too complicated for you, then consider checking out this program because you can do some pretty nifty things with it in it. I collectively have only messed around with this program for about 3 hours or so, and the animation that you saw here was made in about 2.5, so it took me about half an hour to figure out how to use this program, and then another 2.5 hours to actually create this animation. And I don't really consider this to be that good of an animation. The front flip itself is really not that clean. As you can see here, he seems to like float in in space and time, though with the camera being right in front of him, it's not really that big of a deal. But anyway, so starting off this tutorial here, I'm going to show you guys the basic controls of the program. This whole middle area here, how to navigate moving around like this. I'm going to show you guys the right hand pane and what it does in various situations, and then the keyframe area down here. And a side note, you definitely want to know how keyframing works before getting into this program. Otherwise, you are going to be completely and absolutely totally lost. So look up some keyframing guides for things, that might be relevant to you, or try and make an understanding of how it's working in this. But I do want to mention that this is not an all-inclusive guide. I am not including literally everything in this guide. I just want to get you guys' feet wet in the idea that you can animate anything if you want to. So anyways, when you start off using the program, you're going to wind up in an area very similar to this. It's not going to have this whole big cave system looking thing right here. It's not going to have any of the character rigs already in it. You're going to start off in a very blank area. Up here are all of the basic sort of, opening, new animation, open animation, save stuff. You can save it. You can actually export a movie directly from this, export a screenshot. You can, this is where you'll play the animation you have made. This is where you can loop it. You can set the tempo to be something, whatever, anything, I guess. Yeah. You can check off this little box right here to actually lock the camera to the camera that you have set on the timeline here, and I'll show you guys that here as I move along. There's a little undo button, which doesn't really work all that well. A toggle help button, don't really know what that does because I don't see any. I'm guessing it has to do with, the tooltips that show up on the top left, so I definitely like having those on, and then this will link you out to their website. So those are all the basic controls here. If you want to know how to navigate around space and time here, you can see that on the top left is where it kind of tells you how everything works, but it is really a very basic thing. So if I go ahead and I hold left click here, you can see that it's kind of circling around in a weird way. It's like pretending as if my camera is on the edge of a ball that is looking inwards. So you can kind of see it's moving on a weird looking swivel here. If I hold right click and drag along, then it pretends that the camera is on a point and it will move around. This is personally my favorite way to move around. And then while holding right click, if you hit W, A, S, and D, it'll move you around as you guys just saw. And then if you hit Q, it'll descend you, and then if you hit E, it'll ascend you up into the air. So that's basically how to move. Just hold right click and move around. It is honestly very, very easy to move around with this program, much more so than a lot of animation suites have to offer. So anyways, moving on here. So the right side pane here, actually, no, I'm going to start up a new animation project. I don't want to get into the right side pane quite yet. Let's go ahead and let's open up a new animation project. And now let's get into the right side pane here. So if you want to import things like characters, if you want to have a different sky background, just where this blue area typically is, this is where you'll import that. If you want to set up certain types of lighting, like if you want your torches to actually light up the scenery, this is where you'll do that right here. And if you want to import objects into the timeline, that are, not the character rigs, but you want to import like sets or something like that, or maybe even things as simple as individual items, like, like leather armor or something, not the 3D leather armor, but the actual item piece. So, or maybe like a diamond sword or something like that, or really anything, then you want to use this area on the bottom right here. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to import a character. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit add here, and it's automatically going to import a default Steve skin for me right here. So because it imports the characters right here, you probably want to do a lot of your central animation right where the characters import, because if you're using multiple characters, it's just going to make everything easier to move around here. So as you can see here, characters default Steve. If you want to go ahead and you want to change out his skin, then on the next pane down, if you want to change his name, let's just change his name to Steve in this case. If I want to go ahead and I want to change his skin up, all I have to do is click on the little drop down there and hit browse, and then I'm going to go into AntVenom test and then choose Skitscape. And the reason why I'm choosing Skitscape skin is because in the dead mouse rig that I showed you guys earlier, the bottom half of that is actually the Skitscape skin. So yeah, anyways. So let's just see here. What do I want to do? Oh yeah, if you want to also not have a human model, but you want to have a wolf or something, that looks really disturbing. Let's go ahead and let's delete that image quickly. But if you want to have your character, you know, instead you want to animate a wolf or something like that, or if you want to animate an Enderman, or if you want to animate a creeper. Well, I just chose spider, but if you want to animate a spider, if you want to animate a creeper, you can literally do anything. And then if I wanted to, you know, I could animate them. They all have their own specific animation properties. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to show you guys the one for the default Steve skin. So I'm just going to choose human here, and then I'm going to reselect. Let me go ahead and let me reselect the skin that I had before. So let me choose skin, browse. There we go. And there we go. So now we got the Skitscape skin back. So yeah, moving on here. So now that we're pretty much done with the character pane here, let's go ahead and let's uncheck that. If I want to mess around with the background, if I want to add a more advanced looking sky, you can go ahead and you can do that here. Really nothing to it. Just go and select image, go to browse. I'm just going to choose this one just because, yeah, you can see the sky itself doesn't really move around here because I don't actually have a specific camera angle locked or anything like that. But obviously I don't want to use this as the sky, so I'm going to select none. And that's pretty much how you set a new background. So if you want to set lighting, I'm not actually going to do it in this video, and not at least in this part. I'll demonstrate it in a little bit. But all you have to do is hit add, and it will create a light right below the character's feet here, and then you can go ahead and you can move it around using this little bit right here. I highly recommend, if you're going to move this around, to click and zoom in, because the light will move fast. So if you want to move it around here, I think I might have derped it up a little bit though. So let me go ahead and let me remove that and then add another one. There we go. So as you can see here, even though I've zoomed in, you can see the light is moving very fast through the whole frame. So you definitely want to zoom in a lot, just so, you know, you can do some very finite movements with the lighting itself. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove that because I don't want to get into lighting quite yet, because it's even a little bit too advanced for me. So now if I want to import things like objects, for example, the dead mouse head that I had earlier, or if I want to import a scenery area or something like that, all I have to do is I have to click on the objects area here and then go to add, and this will allow me to import certain objects. The actual thing that imported right at his feet, but you can kind of see down here, it is the image of a leather helmet. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this around here. I actually don't want to move it into the ground, so I don't want to take that leather helmet and throw it on the ground. Yeah. Style points. All right, so anyway, so as you can see here, it is a leather helmet. If I want to make it anything else, like if I want him to have an Eye of the Ender in his inventory or something like that, I could do that. Bottle of Enchanting, I could do that. Bucket, and basically anything out of the stock item list thing for Minecraft, I can go ahead and I can do that. If I actually want to make it a terrain item, so something like this, I can go ahead and I can do this, though it's not like actually, like for example, if I hit cake here, it's not actually going to place a cake down for me or anything like that. These are just, you know, 2D versions of the things right here. So it's really good for things like, let's just say, redstone. If I wanted to place down a thing of redstone, I could rotate that and place it on the ground and make cool 3D looking redstone if I wanted to. You could really do anything with this. So for now, what I want to do is I want to choose a torch. Not a lever, but a torch. So this is, if I wanted to create lighting in a set, I would have the set already. I'd move a torch around, you know, throughout the set, and then I'd angle it, and then I would put a lighting, you know, right on the tip of where the torch is, right here. So I would put, you know, that right there. So let's just do that as an example here, just for the heck of it. Let me just add a light here, adds a light at his feet. If I want to move it along the XY axis here, I want to be very careful, just because I'm not exactly sure where it moves here. But anyways, so now I have a light there. If you kind of have to move around space, and you kind of have to move around the space to really know where the thing is. But anyway, so it looks like it's perfectly lined up with that. That's pretty much accurate. And then I'm going to choose on the top right here. because this allows you to choose different grids in order to move this around on. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. And now we have a light that is pretty much right on the torch. And you can see it's actually lighting him up. So if I go ahead and I disable the light there, you can see the lighting actually changes on Skitscape himself. So yeah, that's pretty much how lighting works essentially. That's about as much in depth as I want to go with it for now, because I'm going to get really sidetracked and not get to the animation part of this, because I want to show you guys how to animate, because that's why you guys are here, right? Right? You guys want to animate? Yeah? Well, let's go ahead and let's get into it here. So let me go ahead and let me remove this object here. So let me go ahead and let me remove that. So if I want to do something like animation, all I have to do is take a look at the keyframe area on the bottom here. So this is where you're going to do all of your animation. It's very simple. Once you get into it, you guys will probably, recognize it right away, especially if you've done any sort of keyframe animation with other programs in the past. So what you want to do is you want to create your very first keyframe, and that is going to change up all of the controls on the right side. These are going to give you the rigging and movement controls for the character and all of that fun stuff. So the first keyframe right here, let's just say I want him to start off in this position. This is exactly where I want the character to start on the very first frame of the video, right here. You can see that it counts out the amount of frames here. So 0 frames, 5 frames, 10 frames, 15, 20, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and let's double click on like 15 here or something. And now, if I want to make the character move from point A to point B, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some subtle adjustments with the character itself. So I'm not going to move the character, but I'm going to adjust, like maybe I'm going to adjust the rotation of the arms or something. You want to do that on this area up here on the top right. So for example, if I want to adjust this arm right here, I would click on this right here. And then I would go down to the rotation area, and then I would select the x-axis, and then I would just move it around. So if you want his arms to swing back and forth, you would mess around with the x-axis. If you wanted him to do something like a wave, you'd mess around with the y-axis. Boom, bam, you got Skitscape waving. Let me go and let me set that to 0. It's very frustrating to set it to 0. And if for whatever reason you want to rotate him, if you want to break his arm in place or something like that, then you can go ahead and you can do that as well. But for the time being, I'm just going to set this to 0. It's so frustrating to get it perfectly set. But anyway, so I'm gonna adjust that arm. I'm going to very quickly click and adjust this arm. Move that one forward. I'm going to click on the leg, do the same thing. It just creates, just some very subtle looking movements. And I'm going to click on the body. And the body, when you actually rotate it, rotates the head and the arms as well. Rotates them forward in proportion with the body, so it does look very natural. That's one thing I'm very glad that this program does. Otherwise, it would be almost impossible to do proper looking animations. So anyways, so if you guys know how keyframing works, you will know that since I've done all of the modification for this on the second keyframe here, he's going to slowly transition from the first keyframe into the second keyframe. So all of the positions that were set on the first keyframe will transition to the second keyframe. And then let's go ahead and let's set one on 30 here. So now you guys want to know, well, how do I move the character forward? How do I get him from here to, well, not like that. I selected the wrong area. But how do I get him from here to here? Well, what you want to do now, if you want to move the entire body, if you want to move the legs, arms, head, everything, you want to select outside of this area right here. You can see where the mouse is moving, and then have all of these areas show up in yellow. So that's how you do that here. I'm going to make sure that this is selected, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move him. I need to move him on this axis right here. So point A to point B. Since I moved ahead 15 frames, I'm going to choose 15 right here. So now he is going to slide from the point that he was at before to the new point. And because I actually haven't set any new arm movements or anything like that, the arms and the legs appear to stay still. So now let's say I want to make this a proper looking animation. I want his legs to move forward and stuff. I want him to actually look like he's not just a stick figure that's moving along, for no rhyme or reason. I can go ahead and I can do this here. I'm moving the arms all around. I'm doing this here. Let me move that arm a little bit more forward, and then I'm going to move the body a little bit back, because now he's accelerated, so his body is going to get pushed back a little bit. Not too much. I don't want it to go, go completely banana sandwich or anything, but you can see there. Right now he's kind of sliding from point to point because he's moving really far and his legs aren't really moving that far. The distance that I moved him is a lot more than one step, as you guys can see, so it does take a lot of trial and error to really get your animations exactly where you want them to be. So yeah, so that's moving the Steve character around. One thing I do want to show you guys is the camera controls here. So if I click on this button up here, it is going to insert the camera into the timeline. And all you have to do, again, it's just like keyframing. You select your very first point, and then you select your second. Actually, I think I want the first point to be here. And I'm going to select this, create the second point, and then bam, just set it right there. And now the camera is going to transition from point A to point B. That's exactly how the camera works. There really isn't anything too much to it other than that. So now moving back to the Steve character here. So I'm betting a lot of you are wondering, how do you import, let's just say you want to do the dead mouse head thing that I just did. So now you guys know animation. You guys understand the very basics of how animation works. Again, if you want to do like what I did in the beginning of the video, if you want to do a front flip, you just need to practice and spend tons of time messing with this, because animation is not a quick process by any stretch of the imagination. So let's just say I want to attach a dead mouse head to this character. That's what I want to do. That is my journey in life. I want to make dead mouse walk in Minecraft. Well, you're not going to really be able to do it the same way that I did, like I did before. I think what I'm going to do though, yeah, you're not going to be able to import a dead mouse head like I had, because I very specifically got it from the Mouseville server. But if you wanted to, let me just show you guys for fun here, just very quickly here. Let's get out of here. Let's go ahead and let's go to characters here, select Steve, and then go back to default here. If I want to add mouse ears to him or something like that, like black mouse ears or something, this is going to be really silly, but I'm going to do it. I'm totally going to do this here. I'm going to add an object, and then I'm going to go from default items to default terrain. I'm going to select obsidian, and now I could give him obsidian ears. So you could give him the Minecraft style ears if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to select object here. I'm going to, wait a minute, let's see here. I'm going to select this, bam, there's one ear. Now I'm going to scale this down because I don't want it to be quite that size. This is so ridiculous, but I'm totally doing it. So if I want this to be one ear right here, bam, that's one ear on the mouse head. It's probably still a little bit big, but let's scale that down just a little bit. This is so ridiculous. But yeah, so let's just pretend I've already added the other ear, because I don't feel like wasting you guys' time. So if here's another thing I'm going to show you guys. I really wanted to transition into this in a better way, but I'm going to do it here. So if I wanted to attach this obsidian ear or defect to his head, if I want to go ahead and I want to attach this to his head here, all I have to do is I have to select the object in the main window. So you want to hit the X button on the top right, right there, and then do that. Scroll down to the bottom here and lock to a character or object. So that's what you want to do here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see, I'm going to parent this to Steve, and then I'm going to parent it to his head. Okay, yeah, that did something that I suspected it to do. It popped it up in the air there. So now what I want to do is I want to select this here, and then I'm going to drag this all the way down. So now it's back in his head. There we go. So now the way when the Steve character moves, let me go ahead and let me remove the camera there just so you guys can get a better idea. So now that obsidian thing is stuck to his head. Yeah, and you can create mouse ears if you want to. But anyways, I'm going to show you guys how to do it a little bit more properly than this, because this is a very rough idea. I'm going to show you guys how to do it for funsies. Again, I've already completed the animation side of this, so the rest of this is just kind of for fun. So let's go ahead and let's remove this object here. So if I want to import, for say, the dead mouse head or any bit of scenery at all, because this is going to work the exact same way, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add another object here, and then I'm going to go to, let's see, what I want to do. I want to change the type to scenery, and this allows me to load in schematic files. So if you want to load in, if I wanted to load in the entire pixel map, I could do that. It would just take forever to import, but it would eventually do it. But in this case, I want to load the dead mouse schematic head, and this is going to take a little bit of time to do because it is huge. As you guys saw in the original, the first animation there, oh man, I hope the program isn't locking up on me or something like that. But as you guys saw in the first animation, it was just like a scaled down version of a giant head. You could see the very finite details in the dead mouse head that I had before. So let's go ahead and let's wait for this to import here. Okay, I thought the program was going to crash there. I was really scared. But as you can see here, we have a giant dead mouse head. A giant diamond dead mouse head. Yeah! So what I want to do first, this is something that I did custom, but what I want to do first is I want to go ahead and I want to change the texture on them. So I'm going to do that here really quick. A lot of this program is just, trial and error. You have to mess around with this for yourselves. There we go. So this custom terrain here that I have made replaces the diamond with black wool, replaces the iron with red wool, and replaces the water with nothing. So I don't have to change the schematic or anything like that. So now if I want to mess around with this object itself, and you could pretend this is regular scenery if you wanted to. Actually, let me go ahead and let me do that here because I really don't want to miss it in this video. So if I want to import, you know what? Let's just import another piece of scenery. Let's go ahead and let's import something from the schematics folder that's included with the program. Let's import, let's see here. What wooden house? That one should be good. Let's go ahead and let's move it. Let's move it here because I don't like where it's sitting. Let's go ahead and let's move that over here or something. Yeah, you can import your scenery just like this. I can do the same rotations that I could do before, as I was showing you guys before. So if I want to rotate it on the Z-axis, I can actually rotate the house. So it just isn't in the same sort of style. Like this Minecraft obviously can't rotate like this, but you can in this, though I don't think the door can open, unfortunately. Maybe it can. Not 100% sure about that. I don't think it can, though, because, yeah. But hey, just wanted to throw that example out there. What I'm doing with this can be done with any bit of scenery. But anyways, so if I want to scale this mouse head down to be exactly the size it takes to fit on Steve's head here, what I want to do is I want to go to scale right here when I have the keyframe window open. So you want to create a keyframe for it and then drag the scale all the way down. Yeah, and then I can use the mouse wheel here to get some really finite changes. So this is where I want it to be at. I want it to be at 0.02 right here on the scale axis. And that's pretty much it as far as that goes. If I want to, I'm going to rotate it here, do a quick rotation, a quick run 180-degree rotation. And then what I'm going to do first, now that I have it imported here, I'm not going to move it around at all. But what I want to do is I want to make it the location where the head is. I want it to replace the head completely. So what I want to do is I want to deselect this here and then select object 1. You can see the dead mouse head highlighted there. And now I want to check the box off that says lock to a character or object. And what I want to do here is I want to lock this to Steve, and then I want to part this with the body. Actually, I might want to do it with the head. Not 100% sure there. Actually, I'm going to parent it to the body because of what I'm going to be doing to mess around with the head later. So let's go ahead here. What do I want to parent it with? I think I want to parent it with the head. Not 100% sure. Let me just take a look here. Mess around with some of the head controls here. Is this what I want to do? Yes, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to parent it with the head. And then if I go ahead and I move the body around, yeah, perfect. Okay, that's exactly what I want. So obviously I don't want the head to be protruding with the actual Steve head or anything like that, anything ridiculous like that. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to select Steve's head here in the keyframing window. And I'm going to turn the alpha all the way down. I'm going to select the second keyframe there because it didn't change that. I'm going to turn it all the way down. I'm going to select the third one, and I'm going to bring it all the way down. Yeah. And then I'm going to select the object here, and I'm going to move it around to its proper location, sitting firmly on the head of Steve. Well, it's a little bit off-centered right now. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get this just right here. Okay, can I get that just right? Just right. Man, so much skill required in setting this up. There we go. Perfect. That's exactly where I want it. I could serve to be just a little bit lower, but for the sake of demonstration, this is going to work. So let's make sure that this all moves correctly. So yeah, now that I have parented the head to the body itself, it moves with the body. So that's how you create a walking dead mouse character. And the animation that I did before, like I said before, took me 2.5 hours to do of just solid concentrating, not worrying about doing a tutorial or anything like that. It just took 2.5 hours of just straight concentration. So I'm not going to save this animation here. I'm going to open up the animation and then just kind of, show you guys through the animation now that I've taught you guys this stuff. So we're pretty much done with everything at this point. There is one thing I want to note. It's probably a lot of things that I want to note, and I said it before, and I'm saying it again. This is not a step-by-step tutorial. As much as it looks like one, really all I'm trying to do by showing you guys this is try and motivate you guys to make animations for yourselves, to teach yourself the program, because This tutorial is not going to teach you the program by any means. I taught myself the program, and the only way I could perfectly teach you guys is if I sat here for 2 or 3 hours teaching you guys this. But I think I've been here for like 45 minutes at this point, maybe 30 to 45 minutes, just showing you guys that simple stuff. And yeah, look at the stuff you guys can do with this. I'm sure there are many more complex things that you could do if you really wanted to, so go nuts messing around with this program. I'd be excited to see the kind of stuff that you guys can make, you know, given enough hours of work. Let your masterpieces come to life. So yeah, anyways guys, I think I've pretty much covered this program as in-depth as I really think as I care to get it at this point. This is the second time I've recorded this video, and I think I got a little bit more, maybe a little bit less rambly as I did my first take, but I am not going to exceed the amount of rambling as I did in that first take at the end of the video, because I rambled on a lot at the end of the first take. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end it off here. If you guys want to download this for yourselves, the link is going to be in the description below. But anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end it off here. My name is AntVenom, and I bid you all farewell. And so does Deadmau5. And we bid you all farewell. And I think I said that already. Yeah, I am so good at this commentary thing. And thanks so much for watching. I just had to do that.